What's going on, everybody? John here with you. It is Friday, January 30th. How's everybody doing out there today? Now, when I initially looked this up as far as what to do and what to talk about for dispatch, I always have to mention the Walking Dead games from the Telltale series, right? And I looked through the Wikipedia page, and I can't believe, because I remember playing it on the Xbox 360, but Season 1 was released on April 24th, 2012. And then I remember playing it on a PS Vita at one time as well. Now, that's not to say in between The Wolf Among Us and some of the other games that have gone across the series, if you follow Zebby Webbs, you'd follow a lot more than I do. This is pretty much the second game I've played ever since the Season 1 for the Telltale series in The Walking Dead. So what Dispatch does differently is you have a little gameplay loop that you're going to see here where you bring your gang of misfit superheroes slash supervillains and you take them from place to place and able to put out all of the other calls and idiosyncrasies that the public wants you to be able to get rid of in California. Kind of interesting the way that it's set up in California considering the political climate and everything else now, but it is pretty funny the way that that is. And you know what's pretty interesting too? As you get those calls and then you get through a second part of the episode, there is 8 episodes to this game. They're spanning about maybe an hour and 20 minutes per, times that about 8, and you would think that this game lasts about 10 and a half hours or so. It's not a full price tag. You can pay about $25 for it if you want to get it on the store. I don't see any physical releases coming out anytime soon. But what this game does differently in terms of being able to handle those calls, now you'll get synergies in between your teammates, like Flambe and Prism, or Punch Up and Waterboy, Punch Up and Coupe, depending on who you choose. There will be some certain things in the game that will force you to choose one character over the other, or big other story point tellings that I won't spoil for anyone. But it's pretty cool because you can see their synergies, and then when you get the percentages, it boosts up your ability to be able to complete the missions. You kind of fall between 5 stat lines of what strength, vigor, intelligence, charisma, mobility, and you use the right hero slash heroes for the job, and you use their synergies and abilities to be able to get the job done. You're playing as Robert Robertson, who is Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad. They have a pretty cool cast across the board here for Dispatch. Some celebrities that you would know, some prominent YouTubers that you would know, like Alana Pierce, or Charlie, the Penguins guy on YouTube that has a lot of good gaming stuff. He always talks about Nintendo and all that. He plays Sonar in the game. She plays Malevola. It's voice acted really well, and I think the story as you go along, as Aaron Paul kind of played Mecha Man, not Mega Man, but Mecha Man in the sense of being able to save the city, coming in through lines of that, trying to save California and keep the citizens safe and all of that. And you have the Red Ring that wants to go ahead and get the ability that powers the suit to be able to use their crime syndicate to take over the world and possibly the state and everything else too, however it wants to set in. But storyline's really cool. And what I liked about this with the gameplay loop, I think there's a little bit more to do there. You know, in The Walking Dead, you have Lee and Clementine, and you're walking around a little bit, maybe making choices. In this, when you're dispatching calls with the right superheroes, it's kind of your predominant way to play the game. And I like the storyline. I like the abilities that the characters get. I like the choices that you're able to make. And I think it kind of sets up, as I said, 8 episodes. I think we're easily going to get a season 2. Now, I don't know initially from this game's mainstay in development, as they showed it maybe over 7-8 years ago. It didn't start out to be the graphical super piece that it turned out to be. Honestly, I know this is an old school example here, but it really reminds me of the 4-disc Fear Effect game that was out from Eidos Interactive at the time. Again, it was a story, a little movie base as you were moving around and taking enemies out. Everything was kind of interactive. That's what it reminds me of with this. And the choices that you make seem to be able to matter, but I also can say this. I would hold on to your save slots. Again, this game predicts multiple save slots that you can have. So If you want to take certain characters with you and let certain characters go, I think multiple playthroughs are encouraged. And considering the game is pretty much a little bit over 10 hours, it wouldn't be hard to be able to do multiple playthroughs. I played through a couple times just to get the predominant choices to see how the cutscenes would act completely differently with characters and without, and I thought it was really enjoyable. The other part of the game I want to mention, there was just a patch, I believe it was released in November of 2025, and there was a spot in Chapter 8 that I simply could not beat one of the hacking levels because I saw it on PC, and I don't know if it was this way on consoles, but PC it was able to be fixed. But now on consoles, we finally got a fix to where there was a hacking spot that wouldn't move over to the left to be able to let me get to the last piece, and I got stuck. And essentially, when I had to beat the game the first time, I had to skip that part of the hacking segment and take damage and the final portion of the game because it couldn't be done. But I think it's finally been patched now. It's a shame that it took so long, but finally at least it got there. So if you want to be able to go ahead and trophy hunt and get all the trophies, it's probably going to take you, you could maybe do it in 2 playthroughs, but I think it's going to take you 3. I finished 2. If I really want to go for the third, I could go for the platinum trophy. It's not all that difficult. You just have to kind of follow some of the things in the list, and it will come to you if you do it right. But I do want to mention this, in between The Walking Dead and the Telltale games, I thought it was a really good graphical punch, and I really enjoyed it. Dispatch kind of makes me feel like I'm playing a PS1, Sega Saturn, and I'm saying that in a good way, because you know the full motion video now is ridiculous. It's not like how Sega CD was, when it was scrunched in a corner and not really colored all that well. But this is like a really high quality production as far as the video with the voice acting, and it's interactive. Now you can play them with QuickTime events if you want. I would say in the first one I wouldn't, and the second playthrough I would. Basically anything that involves Robert himself as Aaron Paul, then you kind of run those as QTs. If you want to, you don't have to. And then there also is a couple of segments in there to where you can turn on unlimited or not hacking attempts if you're having a little bit of trouble with that. But I would essentially kind of put the controller down through the first playthrough and enjoy it. Go through the story and make the decisions to your heart's content. And then on the second time around, play it the way that you might have missed some things and change some of that stuff around. And I would keep those save files because I have to imagine the entire cast, they've already said that they loved working on this game. I think it's a must play in terms of story driven games. Again, this is from someone that hadn't played The Wolf Among Us, the Batman series, a lot of other things like that. I've gone from The Walking Dead Season 1 into this, and I really wish I could have played more of these games, but I really think in between those two productions can't do much better than this. So it's really hard to go ahead and recommend other ones in comparison in between the original Walking Dead, Telltale, and Dispatch. It doesn't get much better than that. So, considering it's not a full price, you get your story interactive scenes, you kind of seen the way it works in between the dispatching of heroes, some of the hacking mini games there aren't too difficult. I think one of the main things, like I said, that was supposed to be patched is, and you should be okay there. But I definitely think this is a must play, and it's really enjoyable. Considering it's not full price, if it was full price, I'd probably tell you to wait for a sale because there isn't a ton of gameplay, but what there is definitely encouraged to be played again and enjoyed. So what are your thoughts? Facebook.com/John Reinott, same at X. Let me know what you think, because honestly, if I have to give this a score between a scale of 1 to 10 as we usually do, with the game-breaking stuff before the patch, I'd probably have to say I'd give it an 8, but now the stuff is completed, I'd have to give it a 9. I mean, I think everything else is great. The voice acting's terrific, and everything means something. Now, what I wonder, as I said, keeping all of your save files going into Season 2, are those choices then going to be able to translate again, and how long is it going to take to be able to make something that has this type of interaction and video quality? Because I think that's going to definitely take a while. And if you want to make another season of Dispatch and continue the story of your favorite supervillains and heroes, you're going to need to put some more love and TLC in the kitchen again, because this was a very high bar in the cinematics, and for it to come out anything less, I think would be a disservice. But what do you think? I thought this was a pretty damn good game. It's enjoyable. I was able to keep the review short and get everything in, and I really hope that you guys play it because I think this is something that you can't miss. And even if you hold on to it down the line, I definitely think there will be a sale later this year. Pick it up, please. See ya.